I love you. Welcome back, Couch Potatoes. Come on over here. Have a seat with us.
There's plenty of room.
I am the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
And I am the Faceless Leone. Welcome. TV Talks. Here we are.
Yes, here we are. You know, I've actually had a question. I always introduce myself, I say always. Sometime along the line, I started, specifically saying I'm from Gorsh. Right. Are you from Earth? I never really asked you.
Originally, we're not really sure.
Oh, okay.
But,
because you're like a creation of sorts, or like...
Of sorts. Like, there may have been some sort of extraterrestrial matter involved in the experiment, which resulted in me. But because everyone died, I mean...
That's fair.
It's hard to say.
But you technically, though, are a product of Earth, though, I guess. So
I guess so, yeah. At least half. Well, no, more than half. I mean, I kind of multiply. It's contained. Like, don't worry,
Yeah, I've seen your little doodads running around. It's ridiculous.
Hey, the government doesn't have to know about my doodads.
Oh, yeah, they do. They already did. They did so many research on us bastards. But no.
Yeah, they did.
Well, I mean, technically, we are kind of talking about a little bit of government research today, but I mean, it's not government. It's more of the time agency. I believe is what they're called.
It's a bureaucracy, for sure.
It's yeah, definitely some corporate shit going down there. We're talking Disney's latest Marvel TV show, the latest installment to the MCU. I don't know if they're numbering them like they were the films. Like if this is the 25th or 6th entry into the MCU.
I don't know.
I don't know. I do like their miniseries break, but we're talking the latest miniseries, Loki, ladies and gentlemen, coming right after not Captain Falcon and Winter Soldier, just Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's coming right after that in regards to when they released it, of course.
Yes.
In regards to the timeline, it's all fucked up when it happens. I really don't.
Oh, sure. I mean... So I'd say initially, all right, so we're going to try to avoid big spoilers because, obviously it's Marvel and people get personal about that shit.
Yeah.
So
I will argue, I do want to put a spoiler wall up because, man, I just want to talk that ending.
Oh, yeah, we do. Yeah. Sure.
So we'll have to throw a spoiler wall up for that.
Hell yeah. I will say, though, I think I can confirm one thing because it was highly speculated upon. It takes place when Loki picks up the Tesseract in Endgame.
Right. The bulk of its chronology takes place after Endgame, I would say.
Yeah. Yes, but that time period that they were in, I don't know if it should. I don't know. Endgame was a long time ago.
I only bring it up because Black Widow was just like so fucking confusing because it's not placed.
Yeah.
In present day, it's placed like after Civil War. Right. So I just wanted to solidify that Loki is a modern day MCU story.
So yes, but he goes the Avengers do the time. They go in do the time thing, and it's actually the Loki from Avengers 1. That's who it is, the character.
Well, technically, no, even because if we want to keep getting confusing about this...
we'll just keep on going down this hole.
Yeah, because it's not even that. It's another alternate version of Avengers 1 Loki. So it's not even our Avengers 1 Loki. It's
because
Avengers 1 Loki where...
He became Ragnarok Loki.
Loki, exactly.
And yeah.
And then he got choke bombed, and it sucked. Oh, so sad. But no... We're not talking that. We're focusing specifically on the happy, and that is the Loki television show. But before we do that,
let's talk about Patreon.
Oh yeah. I thought you might want to take us out to the ball field, but
I will do that. But I thought maybe I'd do this first. So if you guys like the show, please check out our Patreon account at patreon.com/greenandfaceless. You can check out the tiers there. All our patrons get to vote on a monthly episode that we call the Potato Pick. That's where I'll leave it today. Yeah, we pitch it all.
I'll just add it. I'll just add that if you want more of that confusing ass spiel that we just did at the beginning here,
yeah,
just go ahead and chip in $2.
Yeah.
It's totally worth two guys just like completely babbling on. Like we are so close to the mental asylum. Like your wife is like, yeah, she's got her eye on a room. She's like, I'm gonna put him in there. He's got good doctors capable. Like, and then I'm just gonna be tagged along because obviously we're inseparable given the government experiments that we are. But like, yeah, we're so close to being mental health patients, like in an asylum, not just like seeing a psychiatrist, but like literally put in the loony bin.
Why do you say that? What did Sarah say to you?
Sarah, it's just observation, man. Like you,
I think you're referred. Anyhow, yeah. Take me out to the living room. Take me out to my chair. Whoa, shut the curtains and turn on the tube. I don't care if we even eat food, for it's the faceless pitch. Welcome back.
My dog's so excited.
Yes, yeah, she's ready to catch a hot dog thrown from a vendor.
Oh, yeah, she heard you singing, and she was just like, she started doing the howling at the moon thing, and just, how?
Not bad, huh?
No, music to her ears.
So, this is how this works. I get 3 pitches. The pitches themselves are TV shows. I'm not pitching new ideas. This is somebody else's idea. I'm just talking about it, because that's what we do here.
But from them can be birthed new ideas by you and I. We can create our own TV shows. We can rip people off and create something brand new and make the monies.
That's
capitalism.
This is America.
Yeah.
So, pitch number 1 does not take place in America. This is Kim's Convenience. I believe it's in Toronto. I should have looked that up to remind myself. But
the birthplace of Rush.
Yes. But the Kim family, they own a convenience store. And this sitcom is about their relationship with the community, their customers, and it focuses on Andrea Bang, who plays Janet, the daughter. And she is a college student when it starts out in photography. So there's students that she meets along the way that become main characters. And then also Jung, the son, who is kind of estranged from the family. And the story is the family trying to work through that. He works at a car rental place. And there's a lot of great stuff that comes from there, along with his best friend, Kim Chi-han, played by Andrew Fung. And I didn't say that Jung is played by Simu Liu, maybe? I'm sorry. I should have looked up beforehand. But he's playing Shang-Chi in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Or is it
I just call it, just Shang-Chi, yada,
11?
yada, yada.
Is it 11 rings?
Is
it 10 rings?
It's 9, 10. It's a long title,
it's
man.
10
that's what I'm
rings.
saying. It should have just been Shang-Chi. They'll just make it his name. Just that's good enough.
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Yeah, the Legend of the Hidden Temple.
Well, I am excited for that movie.
I am too. It's just the long ass name. It could have just been Shang-Chi.
Well, anyhow, I really enjoy him as Jung, and also all of the rest of the Kim family, and really almost every one of the side characters I really have had grown an attachment to through the run of this show. It is now finished. Its last season, I believe, aired earlier this year. And it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of like cultural exploration, except here's the catch. After the show was completed, both Simu and Jin Yoon, who plays their mother, referred to as Uma, they both came out in interviews and said how the writing and production crew, there was hardly anyone who represented the Korean culture in there. And they constantly had to question and bring up critiques on what was being brought to the table. And, to try to, I think if I remember correctly, there's trying to like tone some of the racist jokes down while also trying to make sure that the culture was being represented properly. Like, especially with Jean Yoon, she complained that they would have gotten the food wrong every single time if she did not come in. So that does kind of disappoint me, but I really enjoyed the ride of the show and the chemistry of the characters. What do you think?
I might pass on this one. It looks like a good strike maybe, but I might just like let it go and see what the ump calls it.
Sure.
Maybe until, the ump might be Shang-Chi. Maybe if I like Shang-Chi enough, maybe I'll check it out. But I don't know. It seems like there's good jokes to be had from the customer service angle because they both have like jobs in that remark. So like that'd be nice. But I feel like that's a very run dry. I've seen so many of those jokes already and I've lived that life that's currently my life that it's more like hits close to home where instead of laughing at it, I'm just like, oh yeah. People are like that. Like,
we're a couple of moments like that, but mostly there's just great community moments, which I appreciate. But yeah, I can also say that this show might not be for everyone. There is some accent humor, I would say, but it feels like it's coming from, those people in the community. But from what they say, the people writing the show aren't necessarily being represented by the culture. So could be problematic. I did want to mention that I did really enjoy the performance of Appa, their father, by Paul Sun Young Lee, who is also in The Mandalorian, and also probably said his name wrong, and I apologize. But he plays I wanted to say rebel, but they're the standing government technically in The Mandalorian. But he's one of the captains, and you see him in a flight suit. And,
gotcha.
If you've seen that character, you know who I'm talking about. His name is Captain Carson something. Sorry. I don't know. But he was good in that too, but his relationship with Janet in this show is awesome. Pitch number 2. The Sons of Sam, A Descent into Darkness.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So this is actually a 4-episode docu-series. It is about the Son of Sam murders, but it is primarily about this guy, Mari Terry. And he's passed now, but his journals were narrated by Paul Giamatti in the docuseries. And this guy was convinced, he was a journalist, started working out for an IBM magazine, but that's where he was working at the time of the murders.
An irritable bowel movement magazine?
No, the computer, the business machines.
Oh.
Did I say that wrong? Is it
No, I think you're right. No, I think it is IBM. My mind immediately was just like, I was immediately thinking he just started working for I was like, sure, that could have been a magazine back in the 50s and 60s, I guess.
They're trying to figure it out, man. Why do we all have this problem? Hey, guys, I feel you. I'm there. Almost every day. Sometimes. Okay, on to business. So, Mari was convinced that there was something more to the Son of Sam case. And he dug deeper, and he believes that this occult stuff that's happening in Yonkers, the same neighborhood that David Berkowitz, Son of Sam, lived at, is connected to him. And there's a lot of evidence, including this family that lived near him and honestly helped in the conviction of him, or at least in the arrest, that they were connected and partook in the killings, because they were all throughout New York, really. It was a handful of different neighborhoods anyways. Right. So he was convinced of this to the point that he eventually got interviews with David Berkowitz. His interviews with him are a bit controversial. It's all in the show, and they explain it a lot better than I ever could, but I am almost convinced. I just think he got too close to the case, and people started thinking that he was just off his rocker. It's worth a watch. You know, it's a true crime thing. That's not for everybody, but dang, it's one of the best true crime things I've ever seen, and it really did convince me.
Nice. Yeah, I'd swing at that. I like a good murder. I like a good journalistic approach at things, you know, looking into that true crime thing. I love True Detective. That was the first season, at least. I didn't watch anything after that.
I haven't watched that yet.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's really fun. Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson. That first season, at least.
I couldn't remember if he was in the second one or not. I know Vince Vaughn was in the second one.
Yeah, Vince Vaughn and somebody else in the second one. I can't remember who else, but yeah, I didn't watch past that. But I like a good murder story, and The Sons of Sam was always a very interesting one.
Right.
And I don't know enough about it, so that'd be a lot of fun to look into. I'm sure they explain more about it. I'm not like deep into the serial killers as a lot of people. There's a lot of people who will listen to a lot of murder podcasts out there, and definitely. No judgment on them, but I'm not one of those. I don't want that kind of negativity around me all the fucking time.
Yes, definitely. But you are also a self-proclaimed bibliophile. So this guy, Maury Terry, did write a book on the subject. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what it is, but I could send you the title at some point if you're interested. Yeah,
because I would enjoy that. And just so people, I got made fun of this a lot because as a self-proclaimed bibliophile, I like to say that word a lot, and people think it means you have sex with books. No. It just means you love books, people. File just means love. I have a library.
It's a pretty good sized library. It is also his living room because it's, that's the largest room he has available.
But if you go to patreon.com and start helping me out, I might be able to buy a house, ladies and gentlemen.
That's true. That's true. Patreon.com/greenfaceless. Here's the last pitch. I thought this one would be well suited. God, dear God. Well suited for Loki. Jupiter's Legacy. In this story, told in two different timelines, the 1920s, just after, I guess the 30s. It's after the stock market crash. Right at the stock market crash. And also in modern time. But yet, they are the same characters that we're talking about. So let me explain. Josh Duhamel plays Sheldon Sampson. Ben Daniels plays his brother, Walt. And they owned a big business that folded during the stock market crash, just like everybody else, But anyhow, they take what remaining funds they have along with their rich friend, George Hutchins, played by Matt Lanter, and they journey across the world and find this place and get superpowers. And the modern day storyline is about how they are aging superheroes.
Ooh.
They're all in their hundreds, along with Sheldon's wife, Grace Kennedy Sampson. Leslie Bibb plays Grace. They are worried about the future of the Union, which is what they called their superhero group. There has been a few revolving members. There's also a lot of names like that. Okay. I should also say Josh Duhamel's superhero name is the Utopian. His brother is Brainwave.
Oh, that's not bad.
And yeah, but it's been used like a bazillion other times.
Right.
His wife, Grace, is Lady Liberty. And I believe George was Skyfox.
Ooh, I like Skyfox.
Yeah, I kind of like Skyfox too. This might be a spoiler. They don't go too much into the early part of when they're superheroes. They just manage in this first season to tell the story of them getting the powers. So that is a spoiler. But the real story in the modern day which is reflected by the story in the past, is Andrew Horton, the son character, playing Brandon Sampson, and Elena Kampouris playing Chloe Sampson. They genetically inherited their parents' powers, and Brandon wants to be just like his dad, and his superhero name is the Paragon. Or just Paragon, maybe. I don't know.
Boo.
Chloe decided to not take up the mantle, and she's trying to be a model, but she's also heavily addicted to drugs. So,
fun.
Yeah, there's a lot about the expectations that Sheldon, their father, put on them that, makes them act the way that they do. And there's a lot about graying the area of what's right and wrong. Like, oh my God, I don't understand how they got away with so many times how they said it's not how it used to be. I was just like, oh dear God, come on. It's never how it used to be. But besides that, there's fun drama that goes on, and then also superhero stuff. It's for adults. There's some pretty gnarly stuff that happens. I'm a sucker for superhero stuff, but what do you think?
Yeah, I too am a sucker for superhero shit, especially things that take from DC and Marvel, but create completely new characters and go in a different spin on it. All those kind of like what if coming up with Marvel. I like that different look on things other than the mainstream DC and Marvel shit.
Definitely.
And I liked. Oh, what is that? What is that one show that on Amazon Prime? Invincible.
That shit was good.
Yeah, I haven't watched all of it. I've only watched the first few episodes, and I like that concept superhero thing. So I would definitely swing at this because it just seems like it would be very entertaining to me. But at the same time, it does kind of sound like they're just pulling on a lot of textbook story arcs for this kind of stuff. So. I'm a little weary on it, but I would definitely check it out.
I will add one thing to my pitch because I think that you will find this touch more intriguing. The part that's set in the past is written like a thriller, like a horror thriller. Yeah, so it is very good. They do a lot of stuff where you question. Where the characters are questioning Sheldon's sanity. But, of course, we see this future version. There is a bit of dramatic irony there. We know the destination. But I thought that it was more intriguing. I looked forward to the story parts in the past because the difficulties that they had to go through to get where they go.
I mean, yeah, now that I know there's horror involved, I'll definitely check it out. But it's going to be a while.
Yeah.
It's going to be a while. I'm bad at TV shows, everybody. I was talking to the Faceless Leon over there before we started this, that, for me, the problem is I like to discuss things. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing this podcast. I like to talk and, I always want to hear your opinion, too. So if you want to leave a comment on the videos below, you can go ahead and do that. I'll definitely read them because I like talking shit. That's what I do. I gab. I'm a gabber. And with TV shows, it's hard for me to gab because, so many people watch a lot of things. I'm a slow watcher of shows, so it takes me a long time to catch up. By the time I do catch up, nobody wants to talk about it anymore. And the shows that I love, nobody wants to talk about in the first place because it's Doctor Who, which is going on season, 40, 41? I don't know. They're going on year 60, though.
I love
they've been around for 60 years.
I'm just not caught up. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying, I've only met 4 people in my life that are actually outside of the internet. I've talked to a lot of people on the internet about Doctor Who, but in my life, there's only 4 people that I find cool. I will say that I'm interested in talking to who have liked Doctor Who, and so it's just it's a very niche thing that I like.
Yeah.
And then all the shows that everybody else likes, like Tiger King and all that shit, I just can't get into it.
What an example!
Hey, it's what was the talk of the town last year.
I mean, I watched it. It was interesting. It was a wild ride, but I understand your ethical qualms. with
I just,
the
I
production.
don't like giving people like that screen time. Like, who the fuck cares? And I've watched, Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I tried to keep up. I couldn't. I made it like 2 episodes. Like, I don't like them as people. And it's like, it seems like that's a lot of TV shows anymore. It's like, if it's reality TV, it's a bunch of people I don't like. Yeah, I mean, I like RuPaul. I'll watch the shit out of RuPaul's Drag Race. Like that's a lot of fun. Yeah, those kind of reality shows I can get into. Yeah, I mean, there's always more entertainment to be had out of you can think up whatever the fuck you want and make a show out of it.
Why aren't we pitching shows, Greg?
Because we don't know anybody.
I'm gonna Google how to pitch to Netflix tonight.
Hell yeah! I think we have to get like an agent, somebody to speak from us to them.
All right,
but I don't think they want to hear what the fuck we have to say. Well, we'll figure it out. And while you're at it, figure out how I can publish a novel too. But all of that to get to the show we're talking today, Loki. Again, it's a show that I was able to keep up with because everybody else was forced to keep up with me. That's why it's easy for me to watch these Disney Plus shows, is because they're being released 1 episode a week. So all the people I know who are going to watch that show and it's going to be the buzz of the town for the workday, they have to stay at the exact same pace as me, and it's fucking beautiful because it makes it easy for me to watch it. All the shows that are streamable, everybody watches it in 2 days, and then 5 weeks later, I finish the show and I'm like, "Hey guys, how was Queen's Gambit? Wasn't that good?" And everybody's like, "Yeah, Greg, Queen's Gambit was great back in November." So shut the fuck up.
I watched it again, okay? That shit was great. And we talked about it.
I know we talked about it. I could talk about a lot of shit, but like the people I see on a daily basis at work, it's like they watch shit at a much faster pace than I. And I'm over here doing a paint by numbers, and I can't watch TV while doing that because I have to be watching the show. But instead I'm painting by numbers. I'm like, well, that takes 2 hours of my time, and then I don't have time for shows. I'm a boring old man. I don't have time for this stuff.
Well, okay, you made time, and now we're here. We're talking about it. You want to summarize Loki, or should I?
I'll do my best. Yeah, you've had the pitch. You gotta wet your vocals.
I gotta recuperate.
Yeah. So Loki, as you said, takes place right after he picks up the Tesseract in Endgame. He disappears. He does some of his magical trickery and flies away, and winds up at the time agency.
Oh shit! Oh fuck!
The Time People. He's at the Time People, and the Time
suck,
People.
Man, hold on a second. I'm looking this up.
The Time Alliance. The keepers of the sacred timeline, at the very least, that is what they do. Yeah, he becomes the kind of like a buddy cop to Mobius, played by Owen Wilson.
He's pretty high up in the Time Variance Authority, the TVA.
Variance Authority, TVA.
So they normally refer to it as the TVA, and I think we're both a little auditorially dyslexic because I get fucking acronyms and whatever mixed up all the fucking time. Right.
And Mobius, played by Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson is beautiful. I've always loved him. He had a sad moment at mid 2000s, and I'm happy that he's having his comeback. That he's just doing great. He's just fucking phenomenal here. Him and Tom Hiddleston.
They have great chemistry. Yeah.
Dude, that's the beautiful thing. Is like Tom Hiddleston, very beautiful man, great actor. Like he carries this whole show with ease, like just walking around. It's so fun to watch him in every single scene.
Either because all the rest of the show is up there with him.
Like, exactly. I mean, it's a great quality show. The writing's all great too. But like, what makes Tom Hiddleston great is he just has easy chemistry with everybody else.
Yeah.
Because him and Owen Wilson are great, and there's another character comes in maybe around episode 2 or 3, played by Sophia Di Martino. And the chemistry he has with her, also phenomenal. And she has also come out, just to do a little bit of my Doctor Who corner over here, she's come out and said that she wants to play the Doctor. And Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall just announced that they're going to step down in 2022. So if, Sophia Di Martino, if she's not tied down with a Marvel contract, come on, BBC, look into it. But at the same time, look into Neil Gaiman and Richard Ayoade. I want Neil Gaiman to be the showrunner and Richard Ayoade to be the Doctor.
Dude, Neil Gaiman as the showrunner would be fucking hot.
Dude, it'd be phenomenal.
Hell.
But Loki, I feel like that's really just, that's all I should say, is he becomes allied with the TVA, kind of forcibly allied with the TVA. Yeah. He sees a bit of the future that we have known of Loki, which does alter his mindset a little bit, I will say. You know, he's not as, I guess, childish as Avengers Loki. He sees his future, and that kind of matures him a little bit. And his job with the TVA is, it's to hunt down variants, I will say. That's how we'll put it to not spoil things. Well, and a variant is just an alternate reality version of something.
Tara Strong as Miss Minutes explains it very well in episode 1.
Yes. Do you have the quote?
I can't quote it. I can paraphrase it.
Gotcha.
I could paraphrase that every time we'll say someone, I guess it could be something. I guess that's considerable. Yeah. Someone or something, when they fuck with the timeline, sorry the coarse language, but my adjectives are on point today. They create a variant of themselves and of the world, really. And the point of the TVA is to keep the sacred timeline from deviating too greatly, because that could cause the next multiversal war. That's the explanation.
Yes. From that explanation, you get hints at the multiverse, hints at, there's some Doctor Strange stuff. There's a lot of good exploration of more themes that we've seen in the comic books that haven't yet made it to the cinematic universe. And, it's opened the door wide to, like, a lot of things you'd see in the Fantastic Four, a lot of things you'd see in X-Men. Like, it's a good branch. It makes it very exciting for where the universe is going to go from here.
What if?
But yeah, it's coming, man. I'm really excited for that show. That's going to be a lot of fun. Is it animated, right? Isn't it animated?
It animated? I don't know. It looks
I think
cool.
it is. I haven't looked into it, so I just heard the synopsis idea, and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I want to look at, is like high concept that don't mean a thing. Yeah. Because this universe is so fucking big, and everything ricochets back at each other, that it's nice that it's all connected, but occasionally I do want to just take a step aside and stories. A non-canon, just in its own little bubble universe, having fun. Like, I'm excited for it.
And then if they make it canon, I'm good with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the shit in Loki's all canon, and holy fuck, I don't know what's going to happen next.
It rocks the fucking world, dude. This show sets up the big thing. Whatever the big thing is, I don't want to say what the big thing is, but it sets it up, and it sets it up really well. And you gotta wait for the last episode for it. Like they build it piece by piece, and they do a very good job at also keeping it very high action.
And see, it's one of those things too that if you know the comics really well, you can see all the Easter eggs and all the hints, and you're like, okay, I know who they're talking about and who they're hinting, but surely they're not doing this. And then they just do it. It's like, fucking wow.
Right? Yeah.
It's great.
It felt early. It feels early. That's what I'll say. Yeah.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder if he's kind of if the big bad we'll talk behind a spoiler wall and eventually, but it makes me wonder if he is like a decoy villain, if there's going to be something bigger behind him.
I don't know.
By bigger, you can read between the lines there, like, big.
Oh.
Like galactic.
That's an interesting
I'd be really
guess.
excited for that.
That's an interesting guess.
Yeah.
Because the last time somebody attempted this in cinema, it was not very good.
No, it wasn't. But if anybody's going to get it right, it would probably be Kevin Feige.
Fair.
Which, by the way, I do want to call attention. I don't know how this impacts Loki, but I just discovered that by releasing these films through Disney Prime, like by releasing Black Widow and all that, the creators aren't getting as much kickback. So I don't know, like maybe Disney gets more of the $30 fee to watch it. I don't know how that impacts Loki. I hope that the money's, because you don't have to buy for Loki. It's just part of Disney streaming. So I'm not sure.
I'm
but
sure
I would
the
hope
contracts
that the
were
creators,
different for that.
Yeah, Scarlett Johansson just sued Disney for it. Just a fun thing to throw out there. Doesn't really impact the show whatsoever
necessarily, but
bad adjective.
But I think some people are worried about, people have ethical concerns about how they consume things, and I think it's nice to put a PSA about that. Thank you.
And, before we get behind the spoiler wall, there are some cons to this show, I will say. There are very few, small, tiny fucking nitpicks that, I can actually only think of one.
Okay.
And it's that, I don't think this is a spoiler. I mean, it's kind of a spoiler, but it's a very small spoiler. I've always known Loki to be a trickster. That's what he fucking is. That's what he has always been. Even when he became kind of good in Endgame, around that time period when he was kind of being like anti-hero, good brother for Thor, he still had trickster, you couldn't trust him moments.
Right. I
didn't feel that at all throughout the whole of this show. It felt like throughout the whole show that I could trust Loki because he is hardly ever lying. He's hardly ever playing tricks. There's hardly ever a double intention behind anything. He is just kind of lost, out of place, and just focused on one thing. And that's my only nitpick, is that he just kind of doesn't seem like Loki at times. Right. He just seems more of we have to have a more heroic kind of lead for this show.
Right. And I can agree with you on that, because he's also not the Loki who's gone through that journey through the last Thor movie and the Avengers movies. He's the guy that just got caught from the first Avengers movie. So he hasn't had all that growth. There is that one moment that I will let the audience see that I think justifies it. And he does, though. I will argue against you on this. There are a few moments that he's being a trickster, just at the beginning. And then after Sophia Di Martino is involved, he does start shifting because of that connection that he has with her. That's what I think.
And that's totally fine too. I love the connection that he has with her. I just kind of wish they had played it up a little bit more to where you couldn't trust that connection. Right, to where it felt like there was a rift that could be easily snapped given one wrong move. I just kind of wish that there was that bit of mystery still.
Sure.
But, Tom Hiddleston, he's too trusting of a guy in this. And again, that's not a bad thing because I love Tom Hiddleston. So it just kind of made me keep hoping that it was all a red herring, that I was there was going to be a plan or a trick at the end.
Yeah. I don't know though, because I like Tom Hiddleston, I'm happy to see Loki becoming more of a hero character. I know that we've already seen that in the canon show, but I'm glad that it got furthered in this, even though it's a different Loki. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you ready
to put up that spoiler wall?
Yeah.
I think we are.
Smack it up.
I think we are.
Thank you for tuning in. To avoid spoilers, skip to 53:45.
And let's start it. I think first off, let's just point out who Sophia Di Martino is.
Yes,
she is Lady Loki. The variants that Loki is hired by the TVA to look at or to go find are variants of himself.
Yes,
variants who have strayed from the sacred timeline and are threatening to it. Because as the TVA mentions, even though Loki's kind of a joke to them, the TVA is not too threatened by Loki, but at the same time, he is a threat to the sacred timeline that they very much acknowledge. So Mobius gets the bright idea to use this Loki, the Loki that we're following, to be his sidekick to help him catch variants of himself. And one of those variants is Lady Loki, played by Sophia Di Martino, who goes by the name Sylvie. Yes. And I don't know if there's a comic book connection. I'm sure there is.
Yes, I know the comic book connection. So there is a newer interpretation of the Enchantress. The Enchantress, for a long time, what I know her from her classic interpretation in the comic books, is that she is a sometimes lover of Loki, but she just has magical powers and is an enchantress. But Sylvie is the new interpretation of the enchantress. She's a teenager, and she is imbued with the power of Loki.
Ooh.
They do have some kind of relationship. I don't think it's not a sexual thing because she's a teenager. Right. But
well, I mean, technically, neither is the show's version.
Yeah,
it never got sexual.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely
it's romantic.
Which is super so weird, man. I mean, he is a narcissist.
Oh, come on.
So it works.
Yeah, exactly. It's the most sensible thing I can think of.
Yeah, the only one he could love enough is himself.
But at the same time, I mean, I guess maybe I am a bit of a narcissist. I was gonna say, like, I would love female me also if I were to meet her. Like, I would be like, yes, finally.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I am a narcissist, so let's be honest.
I don't know. I might be into what's one amorphic blob to another, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. It's been a long time since I've seen a Gorshin.
So, I fucking love Sylvie. She's awesome.
Yeah, she was one of my favorite things about this whole show. Like, right. I love Tom Hiddleston, love Owen Wilson, but Lady Loki was such a fucking badass. Mm-hmm. And you felt for her, like, her whole story too. Like, you learn a bit about her origin story, and you learn about why she's doing. I won't spoil what her plan is, but you learn why she's doing what she's doing. And I felt more attached to what she was going through than what our Loki was going through. Even though I was loving following Tom Hiddleston, and I think he was a good vehicle for the audience, her story was just more captivating.
Definitely. Yeah, it was. And if she does become the Doctor, I'd be cool with that.
Oh, yeah. Put her in like a old-fashioned, like, 1800s suit with the little vest and everything, like gray vest. Give her a bowler hat.
Nice. It sounds a little Clockwork Orangey, though.
Yeah, I kind of like. I feel like she could pull that look off. That's what I'm just choosing to cast her. And obviously, they can choose whatever they want. They might go crazy. I don't know. Their costumes have been. I kind of like Jodie Whittaker's, but it's very Fifth Doctor Peter Davidson, where it's kind of just white and bland. I mean, she's got the nice rainbow stripes.
I love the rainbow suspenders. Yeah.
Yeah. The jumpers.
Is that what does she wear overalls?
I mean, it's suspenders. But in England they call them jumpers. Yeah.
Right. Like I said, I'm not caught up. I've watched I think 3 Jodie Whittaker episodes. I feel bad about that. I stopped right before the spider one.
You were breaking up, but that's totally fine because we're not talking Doctor Who. We're talking Loki. We're behind that spoil wall.
Loki.
And the other big thing, the spoil that I want to spoil at least, is the big bad. Maybe there's more that you wanted to spoil before him. Do you want to?
Let's talk about the Timekeepers.
You mean the Star Wars: The Last Jedi stuff? That was another big issue I had with this whole show, is that there are so many things that just completely felt very derivative of Disney products, and the Timekeeper scene was 100% just a ripoff of what was his fucking name? Snoke?
Yeah, something like that.
Snoke. Yes, Snape. Chancellor Snape. Like the guy in the golden robes, like that scene where Rey and Kylo Ren take out all of his guards and then like kill him, and that was 100% the exact same scene as the fucking Timekeepers.
You're right. It was the same scene. That is disappointing a little bit, but it was still cool.
but yeah, it was cool. And so I couldn't think the whole time. I was like, is this just like I didn't know if I was making fun of that, or if it was like if there was a metaphor behind it. You know, I didn't know if there was a message, like if it was an entertainment kind of like I don't know, like a metaphor for entertainment. But yeah, it just that it really bothered me because I watched that entire thing and I'm like, man, this looks like the layout of Snope's chambers. And then the fight scene happens. And I'm like, this is almost the exact same thing that happens in Last Jedi. And then the ending to the fight with the Timekeepers, it's like, I
didn't notice that before. I'm happy with it being a cool scene. Because it was cool. But I gotta say, even though they were the red herring of this story, I want to know more about them. I want to know. I want to know that. What was the judge character? What was her name? Ravonna Renslayer, played by Gugu Bathara. She's cool. I like her character. I like the relationship that she has with Mobius, which I thought I did kind of. I don't know. It still is kind of pretty rough. What actually is going on in their relationship? I don't know if it's sexual or not.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I think maybe they might have shared I think maybe they like shared a kiss once upon a time, but I don't think it was sexual.
Well, I think it was before she was put in that big position that was above him. I think like they were partners before she was promoted.
Oh, right.
Anyhow, I want to know what her relationship with the Timekeepers was. I want more detail on that. Like, what was she doing all these fucking years?
You want the deets? I can give you the deets.
You got the deets?
Here's the big spoiler, ladies and gentlemen. You get to meet the big bad, and the big bad is it's not technically King the Conqueror, but it's King the Conqueror. In the comics, Ravonna is a girlfriend of King the Conqueror's. So like she knew there were no timekeepers. She was I think she knew exactly who she was dealing with.
Huh.
And everything that she did in that chamber scene was just for show. Like, she knew it was all fictional and everything. She was in on it.
You think so? See, I think maybe the girlfriend angle can come from the ending. Maybe that world.
True, yeah.
Because she did kind of seem surprised, but she just seems like she was so brainwashed that she still thinks that it is imperative for her to maintain what she was doing.
Maybe. I was just completely thinking, that's where my thoughts were going. I was like, ooh, right. She's probably faking it. She's probably the trickster. I mean, she's a great actress. I really like the character. But I think it's time to talk King. I think.
Yeah, he just did so good.
Just like with Gael Garcia. What's his? Dang it, I can't remember his name. But just like with him, how it's just like we watched Old, and then the very next movie I watched with Motorcycle Diaries, he's also in. It's like, whoa, what? Yeah, it's the same thing with fucking Jonathan Majors. We want
Gael Garcia Bernal.
Thank you. Yeah, it was just it's the same thing with Jonathan Majors because we watched Lovecraft Country, and I heard the announcement that he was cast as King, but I heard that for Ant-Man Quantumania or whatever the new Ant-Man movie is, or Ant-Man and the Wasp. Can't forget the Wasp, Quantumania. And so I wasn't expecting. I mean, they name drop and they never name drop, but they hint a lot at King the Conqueror. But I thought they were just setting him up for Ant-Man. I thought this was just a universe furthering show. No, they literally went to him. Jonathan Majors makes an appearance. He's a lot of fun. He is so wild. Good. He is all over the place.
Yeah, and I'm expecting something totally different from the next installment.
Because that's the thing is like it all boils down to I don't actually want to spoil the ending. But I will just say that I'm very excited for King the Conqueror because I haven't read much of him in the comics, just very little bits within the Infinity War trilogy way back in the 70s or 80s. I don't remember when that took place. But yeah, I'm very excited with how they've set this the universe up, and I can't wait to see where it goes from here. Like, it's just amazing to me that Disney or that Marvel really. I was okay with Endgame being the end.
Right, yeah.
That was fine.
Yeah. But I'm like, hey, we're not going to touch this for a while, and we'll maybe toss out a few Marvel movies here and there. And I could have been very happy with that because this has to be a ridiculously tiresome and painful process to make these fucking movies all connect, man. I mean...
Right?
Jesus.
Like, Kevin Feige has to have the most ridiculous wall with the ribbons all across it and everything, tying everything together. Like, he has to probably rent out an entire fucking floor of the Empire State Building for that shit. Like, it's gotta suck.
Yeah, it's gotta be. crazy.
And when Marvel was just like, we're not going to do movies for a while because, COVID happened and everything. They're like, we'll still put out movies every year, but we're going to focus more on TV shows for like the next 2 or 3 years. You know how I am with TV shows. So I was just like, okay, Marvel, maybe this is where I stop watching the MCU. No, their shows so far,
they've been great.
Admittedly, I'm not a huge, I probably wouldn't watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier as quickly as I would watch Scarlet Witch or Loki. And that's just because that's not the type of show that I typically would watch. Like, I'm not interested in, it wasn't as compelling as both of these films. It's a buddy cop spy movie. Yeah, and Scarlet Witch and Loki, they were both just high concept fantasy fun.
Yeah,
that's great.
You can't beat WandaVision in concept, and I mean this obviously was high concept too. But man, what it does to the universe is crazy. So while we're not too far divorced from Kang, do you think they should have went blue, or do you think they might still go blue?
I think they could still go blue because that could be like his conquering colors. Like maybe he like puts on war paint,
or maybe it's some kind of technology that he infused in himself.
Maybe.
Are we still talking spoilers? What else do we want to talk about? I mean, I really want to talk about Sylvie. I wanted to talk about Kang. You wanted to talk about it more. There's other shit that is so good. Like the variants of Loki, like on the Oblivion or whatever they called that place.
Yeah, near the end of time, the Void or whatever it was. Yeah, the Void. That's what it was.
The Void. That's what it is.
Yeah, they were all sent to the Void, where there was a giant, awesome monster, which I can't remember its name, but that shit was a lot of fun too. Even though it was just a huge CGI Goliath. Yeah, even though it was just a huge CGI swirl of mist and bullshit. Yeah, it was still pretty cool.
So I heard that they cut 2 episodes.
Oh, really?
Because of the pandemic. So I wonder if Goliath was supposed to be something else, and that's what it had to become to make the episode, the episode cap.
Maybe. I'm not sure. I like how they tie it in though, because I like its relation with Kang, because it kind of gives you the estimation of his power. I mean, not really. Also, like Kang's power is represented so weirdly because he's powerful, right? But it's never actually shown. Well, so like you just hear about it.
Yeah, he says that he's a scientist.
Exactly.
So, at the very least, we know that Kang is super smart.
But he is so powerful that the Infinity Stones are practically rendered inert. They're just lying around in the TVA. Like they just have everything. They're the most powerful thing in the universe. Yeah. So it's just he has this weird underlying strength that we just haven't seen yet, and I'm really excited to see how it's. I just want to see more of Jonathan Majors too. Like he's so fucking great.
He impressed me in this, but I was already impressed with Lovecraft Country.
Right?
Yeah. So
yeah, I'm excited with that.
He's going to be a great villain.
It makes me sad that they canceled that show.
Yeah. I mean, it had an arc.
Yeah, but it got so many nominations at the award shows that I feel like HBO Max might be like, ooh,
maybe we made a mistake.
Yeah, maybe we made the wrong decision. People really like that show, huh? It could have been a money grab.
Yeah, I'd watch Letty some more.
Hell yeah, I would.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Journey Smollett.
Oh, speaking of that, though, I feel like the wall's probably down at this point. We kind of just talked through it, but I'm sure it's down.
Yeah, it might have collapsed.
So we're going to say officially it did. I did want to say, since we were talking about love... Oh, no. The wall can't come down because we were talking about a particular person from Lovecraft Country. So never mind. Now we can take it down. So I think we're ready for closing statements. And I want to start by first acknowledging a couple of cast members that I really enjoyed. Wunmi Mosaku. Her character's name is Hunter B-15, but I love what they did with her character in this. Yeah. She's from Lovecraft Country, so we've talked about her before. We also have another person. I think I mentioned Tara Strong doing some awesome voice acting.
I love me some Tara Strong. She's an amazing voice actor.
Eugene Cordero, he plays Casey, who is a clerk for the TVA, and there's some fun comical moments between him and Tom Hiddleston. He's only in 3 of the episodes, but this guy has magically been finding himself in everything from The Mandalorian to I don't know. I think I saw him in a Star Trek thing too, but he's in a whole bunch of stuff now. But I know him mostly as Pillboy from A Good Place, a show that's very near and dear to my heart. So I was very happy to see him again.
Nice.
Yeah, so those are some people I wanted to mention. Honestly, I had so much fun watching this show. I guess I want to give it a face and a half. Why not? I enjoyed it.
That's fair. Yeah, I really enjoyed it too.
I will say, just lastly, that it does so much for the MCU that I feel like you have to catch this for the movies. It might not be the case. It might be that they run the movies so that you don't have to have watched the shows. But I think it'd be pretty difficult with what they do in this show. So, yeah. It's going to have a second season too. Oops, spoiler. But that's a good thing for me.
I don't think it's a spoiler. I mean, all it says is that the title character Loki doesn't die, which is, or I mean, even he could die because he's already died, and he's they had this whole show after his death. He's not Scarlett Johansson. He's not the Black Widow. He can come back. And I mean, and I'm really happy he came back because, ladies and gentlemen, the first time of 2021 for a new release, I'm giving it 4 stars. This is the first and only 4-star I've given this year. Yeah, it's so what makes a 4-star for me is very hard because it's like, one, it has to be rewatchable. And from my standpoint, even though I really love movies, I still am a basic bitch. Like, it's got to be a very fun, action-y film for me to want to rewatch. It's got to be something to pass the time really quick that, I can just space out or dissect too. But like this film, there's a lot of like cosmic shit that happens that it's very trippy, and it's a lot of fun just to get lost in it. I will say, again, slight spoiler, they do something I've wanted to see in cinema, and I wanted to see it really well done, and that's I will say it is Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. They kind of pull off something from Majora's Mask in cinema that I've just been wanting to see, and it looks so good, and it's a lot of fun, even though it's, again, just a bunch of CGI. It's all just effects, but it's good effects.
Speaking of CGI, there's that one, I felt like 10 minutes, that action scene in that one episode where they're running towards a MacGuffin, I guess is how I'll say it. But like that, it was all CGI. It had to be all CGI, but it was some of the best CGI I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Oh, and they just, both Di Martino and Hiddleston just play it perfectly. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, they really pulled off a lot of good effects in this. And again, the chemistry is great. The acting's great. So it's like, a 4-star can have flaws. As I said, there were some like nitpicks I had with this show, things that I wanted more of. It's got to just be like really rewatchable, really enjoyable, and just even with flaws, I have to be able to step back and just be like, I don't give a rat's ass. Like, I'm okay with giving it a 4-star, and like I'll look back at all of 2021 and like maybe Judas and the Black Messiah. I might have been able to up that to a 4-star, but like I'm not. As much as I enjoyed that film, it's not something I'm going to go out and watch really quick. There's a lot of...
Sure, there's some parts of it are hard to watch.
Yeah, exactly. It can just be a little weighing. And, sometimes I just want to be in a happy mood where I'm just adrift on the show or the movie. And that was Loki. Like every single episode that came out, every single week, I was just like, "Oh fuck, that's right. There's a new episode of Loki." They sneak it in on Wednesdays now. They don't drop it on Friday.
They were Friday for the other shows. I think it's just because it's Loki. They're like, "Hey, gotcha,
gotcha, hey, trickster." Yeah, it was fun. It was a very exciting thing, and unlike Scarlet Witch was a lot of fun to go into work and talk to friends about. Some people were watching Falcon and Winter Soldier, but we didn't talk about it as much. It wasn't as captivating outside of the show. But Loki, like every time we would go in after the week, we'd be like, "Hey, did you see the new episode?" It's like, "Oh fuck, that's right. There's a new episode. I'll catch it tonight." And the next time when we see each other, it's like, "Oh fuck, what just happened?" It was a lot of fun. It is what I remembered from Lost. You know, it was that exciting weekly basis of new shit dropped. I'm so excited.
Right. Well, there you have it, guys. Perfect rating for us. Go catch Loki. You can watch it on Disney Plus. It's a lot of fun. It blows up the MCU.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Has that been our show?
I am the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
And I have been, and I guess remain, chemically wise, the Faceless Leon. Safe travels and good night. Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of FictionWorks 19. If you like the show, please show your support by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. Like, follow, subscribe, wherever you might listen. We also now have a Patreon account. If you feel so inclined to support us in a financial manner, please become a patron by visiting patreon.com/greenandfaceless. You can also find more information about us on our Facebook account or on the FictionWorks 19 Instagram account. Thank you so much for listening.